When we think of ancient architectural mastery, the mind usually goes straight to the pyramids of Giza or the marble columns of Greece. But an entirely different architectural lineage exists on the Indian subcontinent, one matching those structures in scale while pushing the boundaries of intricate stone engineering. This tradition represents a total synthesis of hard structural engineering, astronomical science, and profound spiritual devotion. The builders here treated these disparate fields as a single, unified discipline. Understanding how they achieved this requires tracing their legacy through brick and stone, beginning thousands of years before the famous medieval temples were even a blueprint. That timeline starts around 2500 BCE with the Indus Valley Civilization. Unlike later empires, their earliest surviving architectural masteries focused on purely utilitarian urban planning. This is what remains of their settlements. They laid out their cities in a precise, rigid grid pattern, utilizing uniformly sized baked bricks for mass construction, a highly systematic approach to housing. This grid integrated an intense focus on sanitation. This diagram shows how virtually every house featured its own drain, which connected directly to a main underground street drain. Looking closely at the cutaway, you can see how these main street drains were systematically vaulted and covered with baked bricks to maintain urban cleanliness. This focus on water management reached its peak with the Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro. The builders designed this as a communal space for ritual purity, utilizing the bitumen lining to create a massive, functional tank accessible to the population. The Indus Valley established the baseline for Indian architecture, a tradition rooted in highly engineered, practical spaces designed for collective societal function. The next major leap occurred in the 3rd century BCE under the Mauryan Empire. State-sponsored architecture transitioned definitively from impermanent wood and brick toward enduring stone. Emperor Ashoka commissioned monolithic pillars like this one. Carving a single, massive piece of sandstone required extraordinary skill, achieved here through a mirror-like polish on the shaft and incredibly intricate animal capitals. Artisans also began experimenting with the raw geology of the land. At the Lomas Rishi cave, they carved formal architectural features, like this precise decorative archway, directly into the natural granite. Mauryan patronage transformed natural stone into lasting imperial and spiritual statements, marking the birth of India's defining rock-cut tradition. As rock carving evolved, so did the structural language of early Buddhism. The faith physically manifested in the stupa, a monument that evolved from a simple earthen burial mound into a complex stone monument. The core of the stupa is the anda, this massive solid central dome. It serves as a physical map of Buddhist cosmology, representing both the vastness of the universe and the Buddhist path to enlightenment. These 4 stone gateways, or toranas, function as sequential educational tools. Their dense carvings depict specific narratives from the Buddha's life for every devotee who enters. The entire structure dictates a specific spatial experience. A devotee enters through a gateway and walks clockwise around the dome, turning physical movement through space into an active spiritual exercise. The stupa represents the first large-scale mastery of organizing massive physical space to actively dictate a psychological and spiritual experience. The absolute peak of this engineering tradition is the 8th century Kailasa temple at Ellora. It surpasses all previous cave shrines in both scale and ambition. This entire complex represents architecture through total removal. Artisans chiseled every pillar, roof, and statue out of one single continuous mountain of basalt rock. Artisans excavated from the top down, removing hundreds of thousands of tons of rock to reveal the temple within. There was zero margin for error. A single misplaced swing of a chisel could permanently compromise a structural pillar. The Kailasa temple proves that these architects could conceptualize a massive, multi-level geometric layout entirely in the abstract before striking the first stone. Eventually, builders moved past carving into existing mountains and began constructing their own towering stone peaks from the ground up, splitting into 3 regional styles. In the north, the Nagara style is defined by the shikara, a towering curvilinear spire. With its clustered mini-spires, it is designed to mirror the organic, sloping shape of a Himalayan mountain peak. Southern Dravida style provides a sharp contrast. Here, the central towers, or vimanas, are massive and rigid, rising in distinct pyramidal tiers over enclosed complexes. In the Deccan Plateau, the Vesara style emerged as an innovative hybrid. These temples utilize multi-angled, star-shaped base platforms to provide maximum surface area for incredibly dense soapstone carvings. Despite these regional aesthetics, all three styles utilize the same engineering philosophy: incredibly precise, mortarless geometric stacking to build literal abodes for the divine. The spatial and chronological ascent of ancient Indian architecture traces a path from the practical brick grids of the Indus Valley to the soaring, intricately carved stone peaks of the medieval empires. These structures serve as sophisticated scientific tools alongside their sacred functions. At the Konark Sun Temple, the giant stone wheels function as precise sundials, using complex geometry to track solar movement with remarkable accuracy. The architects encoded mathematical and astronomical data directly into the stone. Ancient Indian architecture stands as a living testament to a civilization that refused to separate the practical from the profound, fusing science, art, and the mechanics of the cosmos into a permanent structural reality.